presents
The most powerful move you'll ever make is the one nobody sees coming. That one truth sets the tone for everything you're about to hear. In today's world, most people are busy talking about their goals, talking about their progress, talking about success they haven't earned yet. But talking doesn't build anything. It's the silent work that does. That's what this audiobook is about. Never tell people what you do. Focus in silence. Win in public. You don't need to announce your plans. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to commit quietly. You need to show up every day, get better every day, and trust that the results will speak when it's time. This book will teach you how to stay focused, how to protect your energy, how to stop performing and start producing. If you're serious about building real success, this is where you start. Quietly, consistently, and without saying a single word. Chapter 1. Close your mouth and get serious about your life. Close your mouth and get serious about your life. That's where everything starts. It's not about talking, it's about doing. It's not about explaining your plans to people who aren't living your life. It's about waking up one morning and deciding you've had enough of the nonsense. You've had enough of wasting time, of talking without action, of pretending things are okay when they're not. That decision, that quiet decision inside your own mind, is what changes everything. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need applause. You need focus. You need a real, personal conversation with yourself that says, I'm not going to play small anymore. I'm not going to delay anymore. I'm not going to look for shortcuts. I'm going to work. Most people spend more time talking about what they're going to do than doing it. They'll post about their goals, they'll talk about their plans, but they never build anything. Do you know why? Because talking is easy. Talking makes you feel like you've made progress even when you haven't. It gives you a quick hit of confidence, but it doesn't give you results. Real progress starts when you go quiet. When you decide to stop sharing everything and start fixing everything. When you start waking up earlier. When you stop wasting time with people who don't care where you're going. When you delete distractions and get to work. That's the beginning of something real. You don't owe anyone a single explanation about your goals. Not your friends, not your neighbors, not even your family. This is your life, and if you want to change it, you have to start acting like it matters. Most people won't understand your hunger. Most people won't understand your silence. That's fine. They don't have to. You're not building your life to make sense to others. You're building your life to become who you know you're meant to be. And that version of you, the one you dream about, the one you've kept locked up for years, the one you talk to late at night, that version doesn't need attention. It needs action. You can keep talking about change, or you can change. You can keep explaining, or you can evolve. The world doesn't need to hear about your intentions. It needs to witness your transformation. There is a power in silence, a kind of strength that grows when nobody's looking. You get serious about your life when you stop chasing validation, when you stop needing someone to agree with you, when you stop updating everyone about your every move. You don't grow by telling, you grow by doing. Start asking yourself some real questions. Are you using your time wisely? Are you making the best use of your mornings? Are you training your body? Are you strengthening your mind? Are you learning new skills? Or are you just moving through each day, scrolling, talking, and wishing? If you want to make a real change, start by cutting the noise. Stop trying to impress people who aren't even doing anything with their own lives. Stop trying to explain yourself to people who don't even understand the meaning of growth. That's a trap. Every time you talk instead of act, you trade your power for comfort. And every time you trade action for comfort, you stay stuck in the same place. Take your goals seriously. Take your time seriously. Take your future seriously. Because if you don't, nobody else will. You want to be respected? Then build something worth respecting. You want people to take you seriously? Then take yourself seriously first. You don't have to announce what you're doing. Just get to work. Show up day after day. Improve your habits. Keep your room clean. Build your discipline. Stop skipping the work. Nobody sees it now, but one day they'll wonder how you did it. And the answer will be simple. You shut your mouth and you got serious. You stopped needing others to clap for you. You stopped waiting for the perfect moment. You stopped explaining every step. You just started walking. You learned to enjoy the quiet. You made peace with being misunderstood. And you used that silence to build something that speaks for itself. There is something powerful about someone who doesn't need to talk. Someone who walks into a room and their presence says everything. That's who you can become. But you have to want it bad enough. You have to be tired of being average, tired of feeling behind, tired of the same routine with no progress. You have to be willing to make the hard choices. You have to decide that your future matters more than temporary comfort. Most people are busy being loud about nothing. Be quiet and build something. Build discipline. Build your health. Build your knowledge. Build your craft. Build the kind of life that makes people look at you and wonder, how did they do it? And you won't need to say a word, because your results will answer for you. You want to win in public? Then you need to fight in private. You need to do the work that nobody sees. You need to master the things that don't get likes. You need to put your head down and grind every single day, without skipping, without complaining, without waiting, because this is your life, and no one's coming to save you. No one's going to hand you a better future. You have to earn it, with effort, with focus, with consistency. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it's real, and it works. You have a choice. Keep talking about what you're going to do, or shut your mouth and do it. One path leads to excuses, the other leads to results. So close your mouth, get serious, stay quiet, stay hungry, and build something that cannot be ignored. That's how you focus in silence. That's how you win in public. Chapter 2. Work quietly on your goals every single day. Work quietly on your goals every single day. That's the mindset of someone who's ready to turn their life around. It doesn't sound exciting, it doesn't sound flashy, but it works. The real progress always starts the moment you stop waiting for motivation and start showing up with discipline. Not once a week, not when it's convenient, every single day, quietly, consistently, without making a show out of it. The problem is, too many people want results, but they don't want to do the boring work that brings results. They want to be seen working hard, but they don't want to actually do the work when no one is watching. That's why they stay stuck. That's why they keep starting over. They keep looking for magic answers, but the real answer is this: be consistent when it's not exciting. Keep showing up even when nobody's clapping. That's where real progress begins. If you're serious about your future, then you've got to treat your goals like they matter every single day. Not just when you feel good, not just when you're motivated, every day. Because life doesn't reward people who work once in a while. It rewards those who put in the time, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's slow, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Those are the people who end up far ahead. You've got to build a rhythm that works for you, not someone else's routine, not what looks good online. You've got to find your own pace. Maybe that means waking up earlier. Maybe it means cutting out a few things that waste your time. Whatever it is, make the change. Don't wait for the perfect time. That day never comes. Just begin. Start small if you have to, but start. The people who win are not the ones who talk the most. They're not the ones always announcing what they're working on. They're the ones who show up, day after day, quietly, getting better, without needing to explain it to anyone. You'll see them a year later, and they've transformed. But you didn't see the 6 a.m. mornings, you didn't see the nights they chose work over comfort, you didn't see the discipline. And you weren't supposed to, because they weren't doing it for show, they were doing it for themselves. That's the key. You've got to stop trying to impress people and start building something for you. Don't post it, don't brag about it, don't wait for feedback, just work. Focus on the goal, focus on the mission, and stay with it. You don't need a crowd to clap for you. You need a reason that keeps you going when it's hard, a reason that doesn't fade when things get quiet. Start thinking long-term. Don't chase quick results. Don't rush the process. Building anything meaningful takes time. It takes effort. It takes sacrifice. And yes, it will be lonely at times. You'll have days when nobody understands what you're doing. You'll have moments when you question yourself. But keep going. That's part of the process. Those who keep going during the hard parts are the ones who get somewhere. You didn't see the discipline. And you weren't supposed to, because they weren't doing it for show, they were doing it for themselves. That's the key. You've got to stop trying to impress people and start building something for you. Don't post it, don't brag about it, don't wait for feedback, just work. Focus on the goal, focus on the mission, and stay with it. You don't need a crowd to clap for you. This is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Why start now, when there's a moment for you to take stock? For this is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Why start now, when there's a moment for you to take stock? For this is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the moment. You need a reason that keeps you going when it's hard, a reason that doesn't fade when things get quiet. Start thinking long-term. Don't chase quick results. Don't rush the process. Building anything meaningful takes time. It takes effort. It takes sacrifice. And yes, it will be lonely at times. You'll have days when nobody understands what you're doing. You'll have moments when you question yourself. But keep going. That's part of the process. Those who keep going during the hard parts are the ones who get somewhere. You have to be okay with not being noticed for a while. You have to be okay with putting in work that doesn't get recognized, because eventually the results will show. Eventually your growth will speak louder than anything you could have said. But you've got to earn it. You've got to show up for it, and you've got to be patient with it. It's not just about working hard, it's about working smart. Use your time wisely. Don't just stay busy, stay focused. Know exactly what you're trying to build. Make a plan, write it down, break it into small daily steps, then follow through every single day, even when you're tired, even when the excitement wears off. Show up anyway. That's how you build momentum. The truth is, your future depends on the choices you make when no one's watching. It depends on what you do with your mornings, your evenings, your free hours. That time adds up. 1 hour of focused effort every day is over 350 hours a year. That's enough to completely change your life. But it doesn't happen if you skip days. It doesn't happen if you keep waiting for inspiration. It happens when you make it a habit. Discipline doesn't feel good at first, but it feels a lot better than regret. Most people live with regret because they waited too long to get serious. They waited for the right time, the right feeling, the perfect moment, and in that waiting they lost years. Don't let that be you. Make the decision now, start the habit now, commit to the process now, and understand something else. You're not going to feel motivated every day. That's normal, but that's not a reason to stop. You're not supposed to feel amazing all the time. You're supposed to keep going anyway. Motivation fades, discipline doesn't. Motivation is a feeling. Start building habits. And while you're building, remember to protect your peace. You don't need to explain your routine. You don't owe anyone your schedule. You don't need to convince anyone why you're working late, why you're skipping parties, why you're not always available. Stay quiet. Stay focused. You're not doing this for attention. You're doing this for freedom. You're doing this for strength. You're doing this because your life deserves better than the bare minimum. There's a kind of pride that comes from knowing you've been consistent when nobody was looking, that you've been improving without having to show off, that you've kept your word to yourself even when it wasn't easy. That's the kind of pride that builds real confidence. Not fake confidence based on likes and praise, real confidence that comes from showing up again and again. Eventually people will notice, but by then you won't need their validation. You'll already know who you've become. And that's the goal. To become someone you're proud of. Someone who didn't quit. Someone who stayed true to the work. Someone who made a decision and followed through. You don't need a louder voice. You need a stronger routine. You don't need more opinions. You need more time with your goals. You don't need to talk about your vision. You need to live it. Step by step, day by day, in silence. Because the best work you will ever do will be the work no one sees. And the best version of you will be built in the quiet hours, far away from the noise, the pressure, the opinions, and the distraction. Work quietly, every single day. And when the time is right, your results will say everything. Chapter 3. Stop proving and start doing what really matters. Stop proving and start doing what really matters. That's the point where life begins to change. Not when you convince people, not when you impress people, but when you decide you don't need their approval anymore. Most people waste too much energy trying to be liked, trying to be understood, trying to be accepted, but none of that moves your life forward. None of that builds your future. The truth is, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You need to make progress. Quiet, steady, personal progress. That's what matters. Trying to prove yourself keeps you in a cycle of seeking permission. You explain, you post, you update, you chase recognition. But here's what really happens. You slow down. You lose focus. You forget why you started. Because now you're not doing it for your growth. You're doing it to be noticed. And that's where the downfall begins. When you care more about being seen than becoming better, you trade progress for performance. That's how people get stuck. You don't need to announce every step you take. You don't need to be right in every conversation. You don't need to be understood by everyone. That's not the goal. The goal is to improve, to evolve, to fix what's broken inside, to face your own weaknesses and do something about them. That doesn't require noise. It requires action. It requires honesty. It requires you to stop pretending and start working. The world is full of people who talk a lot but do very little. They dress the part, they speak the part, but nothing in their life changes. That's because they're focused on image, not growth. They're addicted to looking like they're winning, instead of doing the work that actually builds a win. If you want something better for yourself, stop following that pattern. Stop trying to be impressive. Start trying to be real. Start trying to be effective. Doing what really matters means cutting through the distractions. It means getting serious about your time. It means you look at your daily habits and ask, are these helping me get where I want to go? And if the answer is no, you change them. Not tomorrow, not when it's easy. Now. Because your life isn't going to wait. Your goals aren't going to build themselves. You either do the work or you don't. People spend years trying to earn the respect of people who don't even know what they want in life. They base their choices on how it looks instead of what actually works. They avoid doing the hard things because the hard things don't come with instant praise. But here's the truth. What really matters rarely looks exciting. It looks like early mornings. It looks like cutting out comfort. It looks like sacrificing now to live better later. And most of all, it looks like saying no to things that waste your time, even when those things are popular. Doing what really matters requires clarity. You can't chase everything and expect to make progress. You've got to define what's important. You've got to know what your priorities are. And once you know, you protect them. You don't compromise. You don't make excuses. You don't wait for others to support you. You build your own reasons. You stay focused even when others don't understand. That's how serious people live. When you stop proving, you free yourself. You stop needing the world's permission. You stop waiting for applause. And you start making decisions based on your own standard. That's where real strength comes from. When you can stand alone. When you can show up without a crowd. When you can push forward even when no one claps for you. That's growth. That's maturity. That's leadership. Some people won't understand your choices. Some will doubt you. Some will think you've changed. And they're right, you have. Because staying the same means staying stuck. Growth means doing things differently. It means walking away from habits that don't serve you. It means focusing more on results than reactions. And it means being okay with being misunderstood, because you're building something deeper than what people can see on the surface. You owe it to yourself to take your life seriously, not in a way that's rigid or cold, but in a way that's clear and intentional. Your days matter. Your energy matters. Your purpose matters. And when you stop trying to prove that to others, you finally have the space to prove it to yourself. You prove it by how you show up. You prove it by how you handle setbacks. You prove it by how you keep your word to yourself, even when nobody's watching. What really matters is not how many people approve of your effort. What matters is the life you build because of your effort. The inner peace you earn from showing up every day. The confidence you develop from doing what's hard and not quitting. The strength that comes from knowing you don't need to explain your path, you just need to walk it. And make no mistake, walking that path isn't always easy. You'll have doubts. You'll have days when nothing makes sense. You'll feel like giving up. You'll wonder if it's worth it. But if you stay committed to doing what matters, the answer will always be yes. Because the results that come from that kind of effort are solid. They last. They change you from the inside out. You're not here to perform for people. You're not here to get likes or validation. You're here to become who you were meant to be. And that version of you, the one with strength, with discipline, with clarity, that version doesn't need to prove anything. That version simply lives the truth. So stop talking about your vision and start building it. Stop chasing attention and start chasing progress. Stop trying to impress and start trying to improve. And do it for you, not for show, not for status, for growth, for peace, for real, lasting change. You'll look back one day and realize the greatest shift in your life didn't happen when someone finally believed in you. It happened when you stopped needing them to. When you got up, focused on what mattered, and followed through, day by day, quietly, honestly, without needing to be seen. That's when everything started to change. That's when you stopped proving and started living.
Chapter 4. Build your habits without telling anyone about them. Build your habits without telling anyone about them. That's one of the most powerful things you can do. Not because hiding makes you mysterious, but because when you keep it to yourself, your focus stays sharp and your effort stays honest. Most people break their own growth by needing to announce everything. They start something good, and before it's even rooted, they talk about it, they post about it. They want praise for what they've barely begun, and as soon as they get that approval, the motivation fades. Because now it feels like they've already done something great when they haven't followed through on anything yet. Building habits is personal. It's not for the camera. It's not for a crowd. It's for you. And the more you keep it private, the more it becomes real, the more it grows inside of you as part of who you are. A habit is not a statement, it's a repeated action. It's something you do without needing attention. It becomes part of your identity over time. And that only happens when you stay consistent in the quiet moments, when no one's asking what you're working on, and no one's giving you credit. That's where the strength is built. You don't need to announce that you've started waking up early. Just wake up early. You don't need to tell people you're reading more books. Just read. You don't need to explain your new schedule or show everyone your workout plan. Just follow it. Your habit doesn't become stronger by talking about it. It becomes stronger by repeating it. When you do things in silence, you protect your energy. You avoid the trap of needing someone else to approve your growth. You avoid having to explain yourself when you hit a setback. And you avoid the temptation to quit just because people aren't noticing your effort. Growth doesn't need a stage. It needs consistency. It needs time. It needs privacy. It needs you to stay with it even when it gets boring. At the beginning of anything, your willpower is weak. You're building something new. It's unfamiliar. You're not used to it yet. And in that phase, Talking about it too soon can kill the momentum. Because once you start sharing, you invite opinions, you invite distractions, you invite judgment, and all of that can throw you off. You start worrying about how it looks instead of how it feels. You start trying to match expectations instead of staying true to your path. But when you keep it to yourself, you don't have to prove anything. You're not performing. You're not trying to sound impressive. You're just showing up. Quietly, repeatedly. That's how real change happens. That's how habits take root. In the background, in the daily grind, in the parts of your day no one sees. You don't have to justify your discipline. You don't have to explain why you're changing. Just change. Improve your diet without posting about it. Spend time learning without announcing it. Save your money without sharing your goals. These choices, made daily and kept private, will build a foundation of self-respect that nobody can take from you. Some people won't notice your growth at first. Some people might even question why you seem distant or different. That's fine. You're not living for them. You're not making choices for their comfort. You're creating a better future for yourself. And that future is built with habits that you stick to, not ones you talk about. Every day you have a chance to do something that helps you grow. Wake up and get after it, without needing to be seen. Track your progress privately. Reflect on your mistakes quietly. Adjust your strategy in peace. You'll be amazed at how fast your life changes when your energy is spent on doing instead of explaining. Building habits without sharing them also teaches you something powerful: self-trust. You start to believe in yourself on a deeper level. You don't need a reminder from the outside world to keep going. You've made a promise to yourself, and you're keeping it. That's what changes your confidence. Not compliments, not praise, but knowing you've been consistent even when no one noticed. And this kind of discipline becomes a part of you. You wake up, and your day already has structure. You don't waste time. You don't need to find motivation every morning. You've built a system, and now that system carries you. But it only works if you've done the hard part first, building it when it was tough, when it wasn't exciting, and when nobody was watching. People will see the results later, but by then, you won't care about showing off. You'll be too focused on your next goal. You'll be living in a way that feels right to you. And that kind of quiet strength, unshaken, focused, intentional, that's the kind of power that lasts. Stop trying to impress people with your goals. Show them your discipline through results. Let them wonder how you changed so much. Let your new habits speak for themselves. You don't need to tell them what you're doing. Just keep doing it. And when they ask what changed, you won't even need to say a word, because it'll be obvious. This approach also protects your mindset. When you stop telling everyone your plans, you avoid unnecessary pressure. You give yourself the room to make mistakes, to learn, to adjust, without the fear of looking like you failed. You don't owe anyone perfection. You owe yourself growth. And growth is messy. It takes time. It doesn't follow a straight path. But if you stay with it quietly, it will reward you in ways no applause ever could. Be the person who takes action in silence, who becomes better behind the scenes, who isn't driven by recognition, but by self-respect. Build a life that works whether or not anyone sees it, and you'll find a kind of peace that's hard to shake. Your habits will build your future. One day, one action at a time, and if you stay consistent long enough, they'll carry you through challenges that used to break you. You'll become someone who doesn't talk about discipline, you live it. You don't post about change, you embody it. This is how strong people live. They make moves in silence. They improve quietly, and they let time reveal their transformation. That's the way to go. That's the mindset that wins. That's how you build a life that lasts. Chapter 5. Take action daily and say nothing about it. Take action daily and say nothing about it. That's how you separate the ones who really want it from the ones who are just talking. The ones who move in silence, who put in the work every single day without needing attention or approval, those are the ones who end up changing their lives. Not the ones always explaining, not the ones always sharing, not the ones waiting for someone to notice. Quiet action, repeated consistently, is what builds results that speak louder than anything you could ever say. Every day, life gives you the chance to get better. You don't need to tell anyone what you're about to do. You just need to do it. You don't need to prove you're serious. Show it in your discipline. Show it in your consistency. Show it in your outcomes. People waste so much time talking about what they're planning. They get addicted to the feeling of making announcements. But announcements don't create transformation. Work does. Quiet, steady, boring, honest work, done daily. You don't need a crowd. You don't need claps. You don't need to share your plans in group chats or post updates every time you take a step. Most people do that because they're looking for accountability from the outside. But accountability that sticks, that comes from the inside, from knowing that you don't need anyone watching for you to give your best, from knowing that you're building something for yourself, not for applause. If it matters to you, you'll show up for it. Not once a week, not when it feels easy. Every day, whether you're tired, stressed, busy, or bored, show up. That's what creates change. Not the loud goals, not the dramatic declarations, but the quiet follow-through. You want to improve your health? Show up. You want to become more skilled? Show up. You want to turn your life around? Show up. And do it without saying a word. People often mistake silence for weakness, but real strength is being able to do the work when nobody sees, when nobody praises, and when nobody checks in. You know what you're doing. You know where you're going. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to defend your routine. Just take the next step and keep taking it. There's a kind of power that builds inside you when you act without needing a reaction. You stop depending on validation. You stop waiting for feedback. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to build a connection with your own process. You don't need reminders. You don't need motivation videos every morning. You've made a choice, and now you live by it. Not loudly, not emotionally, quietly, focused, grounded. You don't have to make noise to make progress. And you don't need to explain your priorities to people who don't understand them. Your time belongs to you. Your energy belongs